What is everybody, and welcome back to Courtside Convo. Today's conversation is going to be talking about my 2024 Fantasy All-Stars. And before this begins, I need to kind of explain what my Fantasy All-Stars are, in my opinion. So, of course we're going to probably go with people that, when you hear All-Star, I should say, this is how I should start this out. If you hear All-Star, you're automatically going to think, okay, so it's the best of the best. Those guys, which in NBA, of course, that's what an all-star is. It's the best of the best. Those are all-star players. For me in this scenario, I'm not going to go with that because I would put here Jokic, Embiid, Luka. I would put those players in for, fantasy all-stars. Instead, what I am going to do is talk about where people were in the draft and how those people exceeded expectations, and they were the all-stars for you to win potentially in some of your leagues. I know for me, some guys that I have in some of these leagues shot up and, fell down the boards, and I picked them up because I felt a good thing, and now they're helping me win my fantasy leagues. So certain guys we'll talk about. We're going to be talking about starting lineups, then, of course, like a traditional all-star where it's, the two guards, the three forwards, and the two wildcard spots. So other than that, let's get started. So at first, I do want to talk about one person in particular that is a starter here that was generally in the top conversation when it came to the all-star or top players to pick. ADP on the side, I'm going to have the ADP and then rankings in my opinion. Of right now, ADP for Shea was 5, 6, and 5 before the season starts. And in my opinion now, when you're looking at 9-cat leagues, even some points leagues, you could be looking at the 1 or 2 best player because of the efficiency, how he plays. You see here field goal percent. 1.1 3-point made. That is only minus here. He doesn't really shoot threes. It's kind of big, but his still stats are kind of huge. You're going to see me look to the left a little bit here also because I have the stats and everything to the left of me here. Shea, 31 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game, 6.3 assists per game, 2.2 steals per game, which is an NBA high right now. It might have fallen actually. No, I think it is at 2.2 steals per game when I am recording this. Maybe not when this does get released. 0.8 blocks per game, 2.0 turnovers per game, which those are all great stats. There's nothing bad about those statistics. Everything is well. Two-way player like you see, and when you have a two-way player like Shea that is also efficient, can score the basketball like him, it's a match made in heaven. It truthfully is. So Shea is obviously going to be someone here because if you're getting the guy at 6 that's now 1 or 2, that's a big steal in my opinion, especially if you're in a 10-man league because that means in 4 picks, and technically 8 picks you'll pick again rather than if you are the 1 pick you're going to wait 20 picks or something like that. Definitely worth it in my opinion. All-star starter for me, Tyrese Maxey. This guy I feel like should not have fallen this much in a lot of leagues. 63, 49, and 58 in ADP. In my opinion, he is a top 15 and 20 player because of his all-around capabilities in points per game and assists per game. But when you look at the field goal percentage, right now Maxey's averaging 45% on field goal with 3.7 rebounds per game, which isn't ideal. But, for guards, that is okay. It's just not, it's even like just a little small knock. 45% is still good. 85% from the free throw. 3.2 3-pointers made. 26 points per game. 6.7 assists. 1.1 steals. 0.6 blocks and 1.6 turnovers per game. Those are excellent stats, especially those points and assists. That's things that you want, obviously. And when you're getting somebody that is efficient still and somebody that is a all-around player, those are the rankings that, you just have to look at when it comes to certain leagues like this in ADP. It doesn't make sense for them to be so fallen down like this. So he is playing outstanding and definitely worth being in this 15 to 20 range. Up next, All-Star star Victor Wembanyama. This one I was kind of debating on making him a starter, but I do think that it was still an excellent thing, and how he's playing it's very well. When he got drafted, CBS 15, understandable, 15 was perfect. But ESPN and Yahoo leagues, 20 and 25. Yes, he is a rookie coming in. Yes, he was playing for the Spurs with a 25-minute limit on his games. In my opinion right now, he is probably a top 7 through 10 player. I do not see that, especially in 9-cat leagues. A lot of this I'm basing on 9-cat leagues. What I sometimes play, a lot of them I do play a lot of points leagues as well. Roto leagues is kind of close to 9-cat too. It is outstanding how he is playing for somebody like this. The only thing you can really look at are those field goal percentages and turnovers, which for a rookie, it makes sense that is probably a, fall on his stat. But when you look at his stats, Wemby, 46 field goal percentage, which isn't bad. That is not bad for a rookie. But for a center, that is pretty, 7'4", 7'5" center, that is not the best. But granted, are they treating him like a traditional center where he's playing down low? Not really sometimes. He's usually up in the set by the three-point line shooting the ball like that. But he just has a crazy stat set, as you see right there. For Wemby, 1.3 three-pointers made, which is crazy for a center, like I've said. 20 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, about 3 assists. I think by this time he's actually now averaging 3 assists per game, 1.1 steals per game, and 3.2 blocks per game. He is leading the NBA as a just turned 20-year-old in January in blocks per game. And granted, yes, he's 7'4", 7'5", but you could say that about a lot of people who've been in the league that are super tall. They don't have the mobility, they don't have the IQ and ability to shot block like him. He is outstanding, and I think if you're getting this guy in the 20s, which in my league he did go in the 20s, I almost stole him at 18, but I thought no one would be looking at him. He is easily somebody that is outstanding when it comes to that categories league with the blocks and everything. He's probably saving you when it comes to that. And for someone that was drafted this low, it's a steal that you just gotta take. Up next, All-Star starter Scotty Barnes faces the league. All-Star Scotty Barnes. Actually, by this time, you'll know if he is an All-Star or not. I've seen a lot that says no. I've seen a lot that says yes. We'll have to see. ADP 54, 47, 49, which is very crazy because I think, when I was looking at it, Scotty Barnes on a Raptors team that looked like they were on the verge of blowing up, on the verge of trading some pieces away, I would have thought that maybe this is the year he could be breaking out. No one probably thought he would break out this much, but they're definitely breaking out. Third year always happens to be breakout. Or was his third year? This might be his fourth year. No, third year, right? 2021. Yeah, third year. Always people see that he is on the verge of breaking out during that third year. Finally did. And, with OG gone, with Siakam gone, he's going to keep going up. He has players around him that can, score when they need to. He's going to be able to be their focal point on offense, going to rebound the ball. It's going to be good for Scotty Barnes. In my opinion, right now, he's probably top 9 through 12 player. He's going to get better with the fact that, like I just said, those players leaving. But there's some knocks on turnover per game and free throw percentage. Right now, free throws at 74, which isn't ideal, not as good. 2.6 turnovers per game for him, which again is something that isn't ideal at all. Especially with Wemby. I didn't talk about this with his turnover per game, but he's averaging 3.3. Like those aren't good things to have, especially usually the point guards are getting the turnovers. So when you're a center or a forward position getting a lot of turnovers, not that well. But still, Scotty, 48% from the field, 2 threes per game. Which is, this is outstanding for Scotty Barnes. Somebody that, maybe last year, a year before that, no one was guarding him around the three-point area. And now look at him shooting the ball, shooting it, and shooting at a good clip. 20 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, about 6 assists per game, 1.4 steals, 1.5 blocks. I saw this guy with my own eyes get like a 25, 10, and 5 game with 3 blocks and 3 steals against the Bulls. I'm pretty sure. That is insane. That is very insane, especially to be at 21, 22. How old he is? I think he's 22 now. He's going to be good for the future on, and fantasy-wise, he's going to be someone that I'm looking at for a top prospect potentially. Up next, All-Star starter Alperen Sengun, which I was shocked to see Alperen Sengun potentially gain. I didn't realize his ADP was this low at 68, 54, 61. Right now, you look at most rankings, 25, 30. Let me also say this. All these rankings are most rankings that I've been looking at. Not all of them were just my rankings. I've been looking at a lot of rankings to say where I would think they would go to kind of help not put a little bit of bias in there. Around that 25-30 area, Alperen Sengun has been elite assists per game, points per game, rebounds per game. Alperen Sengun averaging 21.9 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, with 1.2 steals, 0.8 blocks per game. But of course, we need to talk about the biggest things with him, with his free throws, which I have seen this man miss so many free throws. Watching Rockets games, it's not even funny, where he is averaging 71%, which is not good at all. 0.6 threes, which of course he's not really. He's more of like that Jokic center where he's not going to make a three every single game, but he is going to do it when he needs to. And 2.6 turnovers per game. I talk about how usually the guards are getting the turnovers, not really that the centers are, but 2.6 turnovers per game is not elite, but he is somebody that is facilitating the offense, and I think that's why he goes up so much, is because he is the main focal point for the Rockets offense. When we came into the season with Ime Udoka, do we know what happened with Sengun? What would be his potential with Ime Udoka? Would he want more defensive? Would he want more athletic? Fred VanVleet coming, what would happen with that? And it actually helped Sengun the most, in my opinion. I'm really excited to see what can happen with Alperen Sengun. I think there's like a stat where he is like, with Jokic and Embiid, this was earlier on in the season, might have changed now. Something with him being like one of the best efficiencies when it comes to inside the paint, or maybe his most ability to move around into the paint. There's something crazy there where it really shows Sengun knows how to, move a defender, knows how to work around a defender. And Alperen Sengun's going to be an elite center for a long time coming. Now we got to go to the reserves. And first we got to talk about Derek White. What a season from Derek White, where, maybe you did not think this would happen. I truthfully did not think this would happen. 121 on the ADP for CBS, 114 and 186 for Yahoo. And when I look at rankings, I've seen people put him way higher than this too. Let me say that. But for me, he's more in that 30s range, could be in the 20s range, which is just amazing. And the reason why he's just in this range is because he's just slightly better in all stats. There's not a stat where he is so great at. There's not a stat where he's the best at. He's just slightly better, like a little bit better than average in all stats. Where we're looking at Derek White, 47 field goal percentage, 90% from the free throw line, 2.7 3-point made, 16.1 points per game, and he only has 3.9 rebounds per game, which could be your only knock for him, but that's still like about average for a guard. 4.9 assists per game, 1.1 steals per game, 1.1 blocks per game, and 1.7 turnovers per game. He is just slightly better in all stats, and when you have somebody that is efficient, especially in non-cat leagues, and even points leagues, Derek White has been elite in some of my points leagues because he's just been so efficient, not minusing shots from him. If you get someone like that, where they can be very efficient, do slightly good in all stats, and just works very well, he is somebody that is destined to be very good in fantasy. Up next, All-Star Reserve, Terry Rozier. Now, this one could fall. I do admit this one could fall. But if we're looking at the halfway point in the season and we're not looking at anything else, Terry Rozier is a all-star player for me. 73, 94, and 77 ADP. Currently, if you look at a lot of rankings, they have Terry Rozier right into the 30s. And why is this? Well, the LaMelo Ball injury was the biggest thing that really showed that Terry Rozier is elite. And funny enough, his stat line is very, very close to Dame. If you look at both of their stat lines, I saw something that was like, who's who, and it's Terry Rozier and Damian Lillard. Terry Rozier, 46 field goal percent, 84 free throw percentage, 2.9 3-points made, 23.6 points per game for Terry Rozier. He's probably going off in a lot of points leagues. 4 rebounds per game, 6.7 assists per game, 1.1 steals per game, 0.4 blocks per game, and only 2 turnovers per game. Terry Rozier is very excellent. With him going to the Heat now, it's going to be very interesting to see what could, potentially happen with Terry Rozier, what his fantasy-wise, because in my opinion, it is going to fall a little bit. But Terry Rozier is still an excellent player in my opinion for fantasy. Might just decrease a lot when it comes to what he did when LaMelo Ball was out, because now he still has Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and Jaime Jaquez even in the mix a little bit now. So it's going to be very interesting to see where Terry Rozier ends up at the end of the year. Next, All-Star Reserve, Chet Holmgren, ADP 56, 55, 47. If you look at Chet's current rankings in a lot of leagues, they got him in that 10 to 20 range. I put him more in the 10 to 15 range. And the reason why is because there's not really big negatives. The things you could probably look at him is his assist, where it's 2.8, but then again, he is a center. But he's efficient and has great three-point made for a center. Somebody that has 54 field goal percentage, 80 free throw percentage, 1.6 three-point made, 17 points per game, around 6 rebounds per game, and 2.8 assists per game. Averaging 2.5 blocks per game and 1.7 turnovers per game. Those blocks per game is very excellent for someone that is so young in his rookie year. Chet Holmgren is going to be elite for the Thunder. He's definitely a catalyst that has helped him help the Thunder increase their value this season. I really just want to see what goes down, because I think right now that the Thunder are an excellent basketball team, and that with Chet Holmgren, with J-Dub, with Shea, with players around them, it's going to be very well, and I'm excited to see what the Thunder do this season. Up next, All-Star Reserve Kawhi Leonard, and it's the same thing with how Derek White was so huge with everything is good, nothing's bad. Kawhi Leonard does that, but he's just pretty excellent at a lot. For example, we could probably look at some stats right here where Kawhi Leonard's averaging, 52% from the field goal line, 87 from the free throw line, 2.3 three-pointers made, which is very well for Kawhi. Very, very good. About 24 points per game, which again, like I say, Derek White, how he's, somewhat good in everything. Kawhi is a little better in everything. 6.1 rebounds per game, 3.6 assists per game. 1.7 steals per game, which is very excellent for Kawhi. You might want it a little bit higher, but I think that's good still. About 0.9 blocks per game and 1.6 turnovers per game. Kawhi Leonard has been excellent. He's done way better this full season. There's a reason why the Clippers are right now, I think the 3rd seed actually, not the 4th seed anymore. Kawhi Leonard is just an excellent player, and we're going to really see the Clippers probably make a deep run in the playoffs. I would not be shocked about it. Up next, All-Star Reserve, Jared Allen. It took me a little bit to maybe put Jared Allen on here because, and it's the same thing of Terry Rozier, but if we're looking halfway, Jared Allen is probably an all-star in here when you look at other people. ADP 71, 70, 57. And it would probably be that if it wasn't for the fact of Evan Mobley, even Darius Garland being out for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right now I'd probably put him in that 30s range like you see right there. A lot of rankings do as well. And this is why. For a center, this is the most excellent field goal percentage you can get, which is 67. And I've already talked about some centers that are like 15 or 40. So having somebody that is at 67 is kind of crazy. But this is the biggest thing. It doesn't take threes. So if you're looking at three-pointers made, not there. Which I think, of course, that helps a lot with his field goal percentage. Not a big thing. Free throw, too, is 76%, which is not ideal. Not ideal at all. Points per game, 15 about, which is actually pretty decent for Jared Allen. I think that's pretty good if you're getting him so late like here. But here's the biggest thing. This guy's averaging 10.2 rebounds per game. And with the field goal percentage, you're looking at somebody that is efficient. You're looking at somebody that can rebound the ball well. And especially with, some of these stats are counted in with, when he was playing with Evan Mobley in them. When you take that out, that guy was averaging 20 and like 4 assists, which is insanity. That's Domantas Sabonis numbers right there. Jared Allen has been elite for the Cavaliers. Definitely has helped them continue that winning streak. And we can even talk about his, blocks 1.1, only 1.8 turnovers per game. He's been very nice. And I think the fact is that with Evan Mobley coming back, with Darius Garland coming back, he's probably going to have to take another step back because he had decreased minutes at the beginning of the season. But he's still someone that I think is going to be good overall. Now we look at our wild cards, and for me, J-Dub is one of the wild cards. With you looking at how he's so efficient, starting to break out, having very good games recently. There really isn't huge knocks too with him. He's somebody that we've talked about earlier that when you don't really have any negatives on your plate, you kind of are a higher up player. Same thing here with J-Dub. Only thing you could be probably looking at is the turnovers. With it is almost 2 turnovers per game now. But efficiency-wise, it's a forward, 54%, 82 from the free throw line, 1.4 3-pointers made. I think he's almost around 19 points now. By the time I'm recording this, 4.1 rebounds per game, 4.5 assists per game, 1.2 steals per game, and 0.5 blocks per game. Those are excellent stats, especially for 9-cat leagues that you're having J-Dub in. It's going to show that that's just somebody that can steal you a week easily, especially if you're getting the 80s. But he is definitely somebody that is going to just do a little bit better and better. The team start relying on him. Thunder is definitely a team where they use chess pieces, and J-Dub is one of their huge chess pieces, which has the great defensive capabilities and the scoring abilities. Gotta love it for them. And finally, I had to include him because he is starting to grow even more. Jalen Johnson. Wow. If you got Jalen Johnson in any of these leagues at all, you probably are going to start winning a lot. And maybe not at the beginning, but definitely now. Not even ranked on CBS or ESPN. Yahoo had him 196. And when you look at rankings now, they got him in the 40s. The 40s, which are beating out players like... I'm trying to think of somebody immediately I could think of. I know Rudy Gobert was one of the people. Some other players too. You saw already who people thought were going to be in the 40s, so yeah, but starting to get a bigger role. Definitely somebody that, when they say our only untouchables are Trae Young and Jalen Johnson, clearly they have a huge role for him. Only 3-pointers made is the knock. When you look at his 3-pointers made, it's about 1.1. And his turnovers are it's 2.2 turnovers, not really the best. But again, when we look at free throw, 75, not well, but 56 from the field is pretty good for a forward. 15 points per game, 8.3 rebounds per game, 3.1 assists per game, 1.3 steals per game, 0.8 blocks per game. Those are very good stats. His stats are going to continue to grow. He had lower stats at the beginning of the season. Now he's averaging I wish I had the stats to see how much he was averaging the past couple games, because it's about probably 15, or not 15, probably 18 to 20 plus 8 rebounds plus 3 assists and then crazy steals. Jalen Johnson's elite, and if you got him, you are probably winning your fantasy leagues. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who are your guys' fantasy all-stars that have won you the week? If you want to see more content on me, I'm over there at Lesser Athletes. Go check it out. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.